What's up, guys? It's Solo back on another video here on the second channel, Solo 2.0. And 2 days ago, the NBA All-Star starters were announced. The 10 best players, according to the fans, according to the media, and the players around the league. The 10 best players, which that's debatable because there were some pretty crazy snubs. One that really sticks out in my mind is Joel Embiid, which we're gonna get into in this video. But out west, we got the two guards, Steph Curry and Luka Doncic. Then for the wing/bigs, we got LeBron, we got Jokic, and we got Zion to fill out the West starters. Then out east, the two guards are Donovan Mitchell and Kyrie Irving, and the wing/bigs are Durant, Tatum, and Giannis. Now in today's video, I'm gonna pick who I think should make the All-Star game. Not talking about the starters. The starters, we did our ballot, we're done with that, we know who the starters are, but there are 14 other players that will get voted in by the coaches around the league to fill out the reserves, the rest of the All-Star team. And as we know, LeBron and I believe it is Giannis are the two captains. So although these West starters and their East starters, we're having a draft. LeBron and Giannis will be drafting, I believe, right before tip-off, which is going to be pretty interesting. Now, something I want to pop up on the screen real quick is the voting results. Before I get into my picks for, the rest of the team, real quick, let's take a look at the voting results. You guys can see where these players ranked with the players, where they voted them, and also the media. The fan voting, that's kind of been out there for some time now. But something that sticks out to me is Lauri Markkanen is ranked 4th among players. So he's got the respect of the players already. Although Wiggins was 5th in the fan vote, he's 19th when we look at the players voting. Something else that's kind of interesting, when we look at the West guards, Damian Lillard and De'Aaron Fox are tied when we talk about the player voting. So that's kind of interesting because even though De'Aaron Fox is leading the Kings, well, him and Sabonis are leading the Kings to such a good season, he deserves to be up there, but Lillard is still going off and they are tied. Like, I would probably have expected Lillard to be a little bit ahead of him. Out east, the players would have voted in Joel Embiid as he is the 3rd player. Tatum is 4th amongst player voting. Bam Adebayo is 5th in player voting out of the front court in the East. And also Paolo Banchero already 8th amongst the players. Something else that sticks out for the East guards, if you look down there, Trae Young is 12th amongst players. So he doesn't really have the respect of the players, and LaMelo Ball right below him is 9th. So they have LaMelo over Trae Young according to the players. All right, now it is time to hop into my All-Star picks. Of course, the coaches are going to be voting for the remainder or the remaining of the All-Star team. We have 4 guards will get voted in, so 2 from East, 2 from West, 6 wings and centers, 3 from each conference, and then there is 2 players from each conference, any position. So position goes out the window for those last 4 spots. Let's start off with the guards, and with my first pick, I'm gonna go with Jaylen Brown. He's a guy that you could really argue should have been starting. The 2 that got in was Donovan Mitchell and Kyrie Irving. It's kind of tough. I think you could argue Jaylen Brown over Kyrie, but the fans really liked Kyrie. He got a lot of votes. So, but Jaylen Brown's going crazy. Of course, Tatum, the main guy on that team, but Jaylen Brown's still averaging like 26 points, and he is just great on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, so for my last spot, when it comes to the East guards, I narrowed it down to 3 people. We got James Harden, Tyrese Halliburton, and DeMar DeRozan, which, by the way, I don't know how DeMar DeRozan is a guard. Has he been playing shooting guard for the Bulls? Because I feel like he hasn't, but maybe he has. But I feel like he should be more of a wing. He should be, in this category, but apparently he's listed as a guard this year. The player that I've decided to go with as my last Eastern Conference guard, and by the way, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. I feel like Jaylen Brown's kind of a no-brainer as the first pick, but I'm going to go with Tyrese Halliburton. It came down to, honestly, all 3 of them. But when you compare Halliburton and James Harden, Halliburton's shooting numbers are just a little bit better. He's almost 50, 40, 90. They have a very similar points per game and assists per game. And, I don't know. It's tough. Harden's also missed like 10 more games than Halliburton. But I just like the efficiency that Halliburton's doing it on. And no one really expected much from him or the Pacers this year. So now we need 2 guards out west. The 3 that I really like is Ja, SGA, and Damian Lillard. So with those 3, the first pick that I'm going to go with is actually going to be Shy. Some of you guys might have been thinking I'm going to go with Ja or maybe even Dame, but I'm going to go with Shy. The dude is averaging 30 points per game. And, earlier in the year, we were thinking, okay, he's probably going to cool off, maybe, drop down. Maybe he's a 26 point per game player, but nah, he's keeping it up and he's doing it on great efficiencies. He is like basically shooting 50, 40, 90 right now, which is just insane. He's keeping the Thunder in the playoff race somehow. I thought they were going to be a bottom team, which they kind of are, but they're hanging in there. I'm giving Shaw my first spot out west. Now, when we talk about the second spot, Ja or Dame. Dame's been going crazy. He's been on a tear recently, but Memphis being one of the top teams, and even if, you know, let's say they had the same record, the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies, I think I would still go Ja. Just the numbers he's putting up. It's a very tough choice, and maybe Dame gets in, you know, when I get 4 any position players, but he is now averaging over 30 points per game, which I honestly did not realize until I just checked. I thought he was like at like 27, 28, but he's over 30 now. We need to pick 3 wing/center players from the Eastern Conference, and we have one of the biggest all-star starter snubs of NBA history in Joel Embiid. The dude's averaging over 33 points per game with 10 rebounds per game, and the Sixers, I believe, are the 2 seed right now in the East. Like, that's just crazy. By the way, he also I mean, Jokic probably deserved it, but Embiid was like going crazy last year. I think he averaged 33 again last year, and he didn't get MVP. Like, it's just tough for him, and he's also not going to be all NBA probably, because they're probably going to give that to Jokic. Jokic might win another MVP. Like, Embiid is just getting snubbed left and right, it feels like, but he's a no-brainer. I feel like I don't really have to explain it. Embiid definitely getting a pick here. Now, there are a top 2 in the East for me. It's Embiid and it's Pascal Siakam. After that, you could really go a bunch of different ways for that third player, but Pascal definitely deserves a spot here. He is averaging, I believe, 25 points per game with like over 8 rebounds per game. Just, he's a beast. He's a really good passer too. I feel like I don't really gotta explain that. Embiid, Pascal, those are my first 2 picks for the East. Okay, so after taking a lot of time to think about it, I moved all of the options up here to the front. So we got Jimmy Butler, we got Julius Randle, Bam, Kristaps, and then the options kind of start to fall off a cliff a little bit, but they're still in consideration. Zach LaVine, Nick Claxton, Franz Wagner, OG. And so I think when it really comes down to it, I'm going with Julius Randle. Let me know if that's a crazy pick. I don't know what the normal ballot would look like. Like, I don't know what the favorites are, but my third pick's going to be Julius Randle. The dude's averaging like 25 points per game with 11 rebounds per game, keeping the Knicks in the playoff hunt. I think they're like the 60 right now or something, which is just insane. Now we need 3 wing/center players from the Western Conference. Once again, I moved a lot of the top options up here. So we got Anthony Davis, who just came back, Lauri Markkanen, Sabonis, and then we got Paul George and Kawhi. Even though Kawhi, you know, missed some time this year, we got Jaren Jackson Jr., who probably won't get in. He might win Defensive Player of the Year, but we got Jaren Jackson Jr. and then Cat, who will not make it, but, you know, if he was healthy, he probably would have. With my first pick, I will go ahead and put in Anthony Davis, who almost got in as a starter, but I believe Zion just barely edged him out. I don't know how close it was at the end, but I know AD was the leading, or he was in there as a starter for, you know, a couple weeks there. I feel like we don't really have to explain AD much. With my second pick, I'm going to go with Domantas Sabonis. Dude's averaging like 18 points per game with, I believe, I actually have the stats pulled up, over 12 rebounds per game and 7 assists per game. I feel like he's the main reason why the Kings are winning. Like, we had De'Aaron Fox earlier, who I did not pick. I feel like Sabonis, he really, you know, takes credit, or whatever you want to say, with the Kings record. I feel like it's more on him than De'Aaron Fox, and with those insane stats and just the passing ability from a big man is just insane. He's going to get my second vote. Now we have to pick between, you know, I really feel like it's Lauri or Paul George. I feel like those are the main 2 that it comes down to. Kawhi is insane, but he just hasn't played enough this year. Jaren Jackson, I don't think he's, you know, gonna really beat out Lauri or Paul George, and Cat hasn't played. The player that I'm gonna go with is Lauri. Just for the season alone, I'm gonna go with Lauri. But obviously moving forward, if we were in any other season, or even this season, which player would I rather have? Give me Paul George. That's just my opinion. Give me Paul George. But for this season, you know, when you look at the numbers, I feel like Lauri deserves it, so I will give him that last spot there. Okay, so now we have 4 players from any position. So 2 from the Western Conference and 2 from the Eastern Conference. Who are the biggest snubs that still have not made it? They're not a starter. They're not even like a bench guy, you know what I'm saying? Because we get, you know, basically a second team right here, a second team All-Stars with all these guys I just picked. So who is the biggest snub out of all these players remaining? And I'm going to go with Damian Lillard. I don't know. You guys could debate that in the comment section. I'll definitely be looking. I'll reply and stuff if you think it's someone else. But I think Damian Lillard just averaging 30 points per game. I mean, he's just on an absolute tear. So I feel like there's no way that he doesn't. Well, there's definitely a way that he doesn't make it, but he definitely deserves it, is what I'm trying to say. So he's going to be my first pick there. So that is 1 spot taken from the West. Okay, so now I'm going to pick a player from the East, and I moved some of my favorites to the front here. So we got Jimmy Butler, we got Trae Young, James Harden, and DeRozan, which is crazy because 2 of these guys are not going to make the All-Star game, I believe. If I did all of this correctly, which I mean, there's a chance I didn't, I believe 2 of these guys are not going to make it because they just can't. So with my first pick, bro, this is so tough. Like 2 of them can't make it. I'll go with James Harden though. I just, the Sixers are a top team. I know Harden did miss some time, but he's been going crazy when he's been on the court, averaging, I believe, like 22 points per game with 11 assists per game. I think he's leading the league in assists per game. And if he isn't, I mean, he's in the top 3, but he's just playing his role really good on this Sixers team alongside Joel Embiid. And, I'm going to give him that first spot there. Now, with my final pick for the Western Conference, the last All-Star to get in, of course, you guys are thinking Paul George, Kawhi, Jaren Jackson, Cat, but I'm going to go out on a limb. I have a surprise little pick right here. Anthony Edwards. I'm putting him in. Anthony Edwards has been just, bro, he's a dog, bro. He's a beast. He's averaging almost 25 points per game, just going off, getting a ton of steals. He gets rebounds, assists. He does it all. And it really came down to Anthony Edwards and Paul George for me. Stats are very similar. Ant's actually averaging more points right now. And the one thing that kind of gave the edge to him is his availability. He's been banged up. I believe he's had a little hip injury, but he just keeps playing through it. He keeps playing through it, and he'll just score 30 points, 25 points, get like 3 steals. I'm giving him the edge. He just has that dog in him that, I mean, Paul George, I guess he's a little older, so it's a little bit different, but Anthony Edwards' availability this year, just to keep fighting through those little minor injuries and just going out there and winning games for the Timberwolves, keeping them in the playoff race when Cat has been out, I'm going to give him that last spot. Okay, so for this last spot in the East, it really comes down to these 3 players. I had Jimmy Butler at the front, but I moved him to the back for a reason. I'm not going to pick him. It really comes down to Trae Young and DeMar DeRozan, which I'm completely torn on, by the way. The reason I moved Jimmy Butler back is he just has been out this year. He's been banged up, which is out of his control, but, I'm not going to vote in a player that has really not been on the court when Trae Young and DeMar DeRozan have basically played every single game. They missed a couple, but this is really tough. Like, let me know who you guys would pick, Trae Young or DeMar DeRozan, or maybe you have another surprise pick that I just don't have. But Trae Young's averaging 27 points per game with 10 assists per game. However, he is shooting less efficient than DeMar DeRozan, who's averaging, I think, like 1 point per game less. And he also gets like double the amount of turnovers. I also think he has the ball more. I'm going to go with DeMar DeRozan. I'm a Trae Young fan, which I didn't want to be biased, so I'm not going to be. When you just look at the numbers, I don't know. I'm leaning DeMar DeRozan, but it's so tough. Like, bro, Trae Young, that's crazy. 27 points per game, 10 assists per game, and you're not making the All-Star game? I mean, who could he make it over? Like, you want to give him the edge over Halliburton? I guess nah, I mean, I wouldn't, but it's the efficiency that really kills me on him. There's always a few players that end up getting hurt and can't play, and then they got to put new players in. So I added a new tier called 4 reserves. I don't even know if that's what you call it, but these are like the backup players. So I will put Trae Young in here. If someone gets injured, which is probably likely, as unfortunate as it's as it is, someone will probably get hurt and won't be able to play out of these 14 players or whatever it is, 24 players. So Trae Young will be my first pick, and then I guess for the East, if we had to pick another backup, I guess it would be Jimmy Butler. I mean, maybe you go Bam. I don't know. It's not that deep. I'll just put Jimmy Butler in there, and then out West we could put Paul George. And with the other pick, who are we gonna go with? I'm a fan of this guy, and although he has been hurt, I will put D-Book in as the other reserve. I think he should be healthy by the time the All-Star game comes around, but he's only played like 29 games this year, which is kind of bad. I take into consideration games played when we talk about All-Stars. But yeah, guys, if I did anything crazy in this video, please let me know in the comment section below. I will reply back to you guys. These are my picks for the NBA 2023 All-Star teams. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.